Hello, everybody. Welcome to Poly One Specialty Inks. This is a first in a series of training videos we'll be putting out for everybody. Today we have Tom Garvey. Hello, Tom.
Hello, everyone.
And Tom's going to walk us through the IMS3 mixing software from Poly One Specialty Inks. I appreciate it, and I'm going to hand it over to you. We'll see.
Right. Okay, thank you, Ray, and thank you all for joining. So let me pop up my screen here first and share, and we'll start. So what we're going to start with is how to upload the software. I think Poly1 is a very large company, has many different companies under our umbrella. Our website is a little bit complicated, especially to find the IMS3. So I found the easiest way to get to IMS3 is you basically, pull up the Google search bar and you type in either IMS3 or IMS 3.0. And by the way, IMS stands for Ink Management Software. And so once you get that up, you're going to see this link. The first one that pops up is the IMS3 Assure website. Click on that link and it will take you to this screen. Once you get to this screen, if you already have an account, you type in your email address and password and just hit login and you're ready to go. If you don't, then what you want to do is you want to click on this link below as I don't have an account. The next screen will pop up. And in this screen, obviously you put in your name, first name, last name, your company name, your phone number, and what country you're in. You're a global provider of products, so there's many countries that we service. Distributor, and this is very important information because we need to understand what product to give you access to. If you are using a distributor that sells our water base, we want to give you access to our Zodiac water base line. If you are a Plastisol user, then we want to make sure that you're supported that way. So then just simply put in your email address, confirm that, and password and confirm that. And then we want to click that send. And after we've done that, you will receive an email. It usually takes 24 hours or less. And so that email, and in the body of that email, you will have a box like this that looks like this. And in this, the information is just your name, the company you work for, your phone number, email address, the country that you are in, your distributor. I just put Poly1 distributor here, but the distributor that you use. And then there's a link on the bottom. You click this information, just make sure that's correct so that we can send you push notifications, or if there's any changes, we can send that to you. Once you click on this link below, that will take you to this screen. And it's pretty simple. So just click on this, and this software is based in the cloud, so there's very little that actually downloads to your desktop. So once you click on that, it's going to drop on your desktop an icon that'll look like this, and it's a shortcut to go into the software. So just once you have that, you simply click on that icon, and it will open up this dialog box, and this will only show up one time. And basically what we're looking at is if you want the Wilflex system to show up, or if you want the Zodiac system to show up, which is our ecocentric water-based and silicone products, or the Rutland. Now the Rutland product line isn't currently supported on IMS, and it will be eventually completely ready to go sometime in 2020. But it's still supported by the current software, but it is going to come online sometime in 2020. So in this case, I clicked on the Zodiac icon, and then I went down here to launch it. And when I launched it, this screen would come up, and you can see, if you always want to know what system you're in the right-hand side, up here in the corner, it says the system. So this is Libra, and the Libra is in our Zodiac system, and this is actually our silicone ink. This dialog box will pop up the first time you use it, and we just want to confirm that we have the correct phone number and the correct distributor. You click that button, the X, and it goes away, and you are ready to roll. And that's how to download it. One of the common questions I get is this product supported? Oh, sorry, let me go here first. So this is the website information right here. So this is the link. And then the person, you can talk to one of your Poly1 representatives, or you can reach out to Mariel Alvarez, and she's the one that's kind of in charge of the software. So here's her email address, and here's her office phone. Because of the COVID situation, we are currently not working out of our offices, and will be soon. but I would recommend if you wanted to reach out to Mariel to use the email. All right. And I was saying one of the common questions I have is this supported by Mac, and will it run on a Mac? And the answer, quite frankly, is no. But I have found ways to get around that. And so there's this company called Parallels, and actually my wife's business runs her basically runs on her office on PCs, but at home we have a Mac. So the way she's able to run that is she basically subscribed to this Parallel, and it's about $7 a month or $80 a year. And so she basically loaded the software, and what it is, it's a kind of a virtual PC. So basically, you're basically you work off a server, and you're basically just it loads all the information on your desktop. So you're basically working off their desktop, but you'll have a desktop that looks exactly like the PC. So then you're able to download whatever you need. And in Parallels, they also give you access to Windows 10. Not sure how that's supported, if it's free or not, but it works very well. This other company called VMware Fusion, and it's basically the same thing, the same options. But I did a Google search, and I found this link here below, and there's an article of how to get a free version, and this is an Oracle VirtualBox that will run it, and then they have a free download for the Windows 10. These platforms were kind of made for gamers because a lot of people have PCs, have Macs, but a lot of the better games are on PCs. So my son actually uses a couple of these free versions for his Mac to run some of the games on it. But that's the way that you can get the software to run on a Mac. All right, let's move on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch to the software itself. Let me go ahead and do that. Give me 1 second. All right, so this is the IMS 3 software, and as you can see up here, like I discussed before, in this top right-hand corner, it says that I am currently logged into the MX color mixing system in the WillFlex software, and it's one of our epic things. How you would change your color system is you simply just click on this, the drop-down menu, and in the WillFlex line of inks, we have 6 different color systems currently. So we have the MX system, we have our PC, which is a pigment and base system, we have our equalizer, which is a balanced pigment system, we have our Oasis, which is a water-based system, and we have the WillFlex 1, which is a non-PVC plastisol system, and then we have the Rio, which is high opaque, low cure mixing system, finished ink mixing system. So in this case, I'm going to keep it in the MX system, and I'm going to show you a few things here. So up here again, this if you wanted to switch users. Most people just only have one user. This is just some information telling you what version you're running. If you needed to reload, you hit here. If you needed to go to directly to the internet, you click there. On this side of the screen, we're going to go over here. So we have a couple different things over here that we'll discuss. We have standard formulas, which are your Pantone formulas, and these are approved by Pantone, and so we don't let you adjust these formulas. So these formulas, most companies are approved by Pantone, and then you really don't have to mix that many colors to get approved by Pantone. So, and most people just do a mathematical formulation to get the colors match. So what we've done in Poly 1 is we actually physically match every single color, and it needs to be approved by multiple people before it's approved. So we have the most accurate color systems available. If you needed to make a custom formula, you simply click here. And let's say, for instance, Coca-Cola Red. Coca-Cola Red is not a Pantone color. So if you wanted to match Coca-Cola Red, you would match it. And I'll show you how to do that custom blends a little bit later. You would match the color, and then you would save it, and it would be under your user formulas when you did a search for it. Actually, I'm going to switch back to standard formulas. This in the filters. Now we're in a finished ink system, so there's not a lot in the filters, but if we were in our pigment system and we wanted to search formulas for puff, or if we were in a water-based system, if we wanted to find discharge formulas, we would pick a discharge base, we would click it here, hold it, and then all the Pantone numbers would be for the discharge. But because we're in a finished ink system, there's really no extra basis for it. So the only thing that you really can do in the filter is to look for coded or uncoated. Much easier just to type it in with a C or a U, so we won't do that. But let me go to that. So here's your formula code. So pretty simple to use. Let's do Pantone 123 is the one I like to use. 1, 2, 3. and Pantone makes us put a space in, and let's do C. And there we go. So here's the color chip, and this represents the color chip. These are as accurate as possible because the calibration of everybody's screen is different. It's just a representation of the color. But let's say you wanted to just scan through the colors. You basically kind of highlight the area here, and then you can just toggle through the colors. You can see the different color chips, and it's like, yeah, maybe I'm looking for a good kind of a pale yellow color. Then you go there, right? So that's how you toggle through. Now that we're at Pantone 128, let's go. Yeah, okay. Let's go back to Pantone 123. C. So 1, 2, 3. Phase C, and that's it. So if we look over here, here's your formula, and right now we're based on what is a quart with room to stir. So I have this set currently on US gallons, but depending on what country you're in, you can choose different things. If we wanted to choose grams, you're going to find out it's about 1,000 grams. It's about a quart. But in this case, let's go back to gallons because I'm based in the US. So I'm going to go to US gallons. And so we're going to keep it at 0.2, which is obviously 0.25 would be a quarter of a gallon, but we want room to stir, so we go 0.2. Your information's here. We'll discuss this costing going forward, but this is what it would cost you to make a gallon of that product. And in a nutshell, that's this. I'm going to go to, because of my internet at my house is a little bit slow, I'm going to go to a PowerPoint to show you how to use all the other drop-down menus because it'll run a little faster. So let me go ahead and adjust screens, and I will show you the rest of it. All right, so let's go back to the PowerPoint, and let me share full screen. Okay, so let's talk about creating a formula. So there's two options to create a formula. You can create a new formula, which would be completely from scratch, or you can do a clone formula. And I find most of the time, and we'll get into this a little bit, that people will clone a formula because the customer will say, oh, I really don't like Pantone 123, and I don't like Pantone 124. Can I get Pantone 123.5? Well, it doesn't exist, but we could start with Pantone 123 or start with Pantone 124 and adjust the color to make it Pantone 123.5. But anyway, so let's start with a new formula. So you would click on the new formula icon, you get a drop-down box, and then you have to put into the formula code. So you can do something custom here. In this case, I just put test and test. You use this eyedropper, and if you knew exactly what the color was going to be, you could create this, and what's in this color card, it ends up on this color chip. And so most of the time, you'd probably do this after a mix, just to make sure that it would work. Once you get this information in, you also have reference information here. You could put a job description, you could put a invoice code or whatever, and you could search it by that or search it by a customer, like, Coca-Cola or whatever. Then you click this go button. Once you get to that, this is how you would do a formula. So you have a drop-down menu, and I already did this one already. So I basically clicked, this box was open. I clicked in this box. It had a drop-down, and I selected the PFX blue, and then I clicked on this box and I put in 1 gram. Now I wanted to add this another color to it, so I did a drop-down. I selected the purple, and the purple went in there, and I went over here into the grams box. I just clicked it, and I put 100 grams. And so this is my formula. It's going to be some kind of a blue shade purple. So the things that you need to understand after you're done with this, you need to click the save. And once again, like I said before, because this is a custom formula, it's going to be under your user formulas. And I called the color chip test, and so it says test on here. So obviously you could search it by test. I didn't do any references like customer name or whatever that, so it wouldn't be there. And as you can see, there's no color on this color chip. So we could go back after we kind of see what color this is, and we can change this color chip to work on the color. So that's how you do a custom color, and more than likely, you're probably going to do this. So this would be a clone. So kind of talked about before, we got Pantone 123, some customer wants Pantone 123.5. And so we click here. Now, what I've done here is you can see up here in the corner, I switched to the PC Express system. So this is a pigment and base system. And I did this on purpose just to show you the difference between this and a finished ink system. So let's click on clone a formula. So we cloned a formula, And once you say clone, it says clone on it. So you can change this name. You can call it anything you want. Same thing with user description. And like I said, under reference, I put Tom Garvey, but like I said, you could put whatever. You could put Pantone 123.5. Go ahead, click the green button to go. We did that. And so, like I said, this is, if this was just the MX or the Rio or some of the other systems that are balanced systems, all this other information wouldn't be there. You just simply would click on these, you adjust the color, or you click and add another box and add another component in it and put how many grams that would be in. But because this is a pigment and base system, we need to keep it balanced. So this information down here is what we call the pigment to base ratio. So you can see right now we have 81.5 grams in this formula. It represents this information here. The minimum amount of pigment we would need is 25.3 grams, and the maximum amount of pigment we can put in there would be 7602.2. So why is that important? If we have below 25 grams, basically there'll be too much pigment in it, and the product would crock really badly and wouldn't cure. If it has too much pigment in it, what happens is the hand will be very harsh and it'll be brittle and crack. So this bar over here represents that we are in the ratio range, and you have a green check, and so there's not a problem. If you look at, so I am going to adjust this and make it out of spec. We'll look here. So if you see here, I added 90,000 grams of base, which would be about 20 gallons of product. So you would never be this far off. But you can see here it says total base amount. The minimum I would need is 192, and the maximum would be 57,000. So we're way out of range. This bar is red, and this yield sign would be flashing. So you would know if you made a mistake. So I wanted to describe this, and just in case you use one of our pigment systems. But if, like I said, once again, if you were using one of our MX type systems or finishing systems, this information wouldn't be here, this information wouldn't be here, and you just simply adjust these formulas. And because it's balanced, you're not going to have a ratio issue. Okay, and that's it with that. Let's move on. Labels. So this is some good information. So the simple one is you can print a formula, and if you click on this print formula tab, it'll go to your printer. You just use a standard desktop printer. It's not a problem. And basically, it'll capture this information right here, which would be, if you have a color printer, it would show this little color dot, and it would show the components, the amount, and the percentages. So that's what you do. But what I find most people will do, and once again, this is in a quart with room to stir, right? You'd print a label. So we'll click on this icon to print a label. And this is what your label would look like. So this is for a quart. So this label is scaled for the size of basically like a UPS label. So most people use the zebra printers, is what we recommend. And it would print this information on here. On here you have, the Pantone number, you have the amount, you have the formula. You just peel this off, put it on the side of a quart. I recommend putting clear tape over it. And next time you remake it, you just can pull the information on here because the formula is already on here. You can also drop down this label properties, and you could get rid of the Wilflex on Poly 1. You can just have Pantone 123. You could just have the formula. There's a lot of options you can have. But this label, you'll find that it's very useful. So I would recommend using the label program. And let's move on to the next. So recycle, and this is probably one of the best options in here. So let's say most of us, we either mix too much ink or not enough ink. So we have to make more, and then we have inventory sitting on our shelves of a mixed color, and we have Pantone 23 sitting on our shelf, and we don't have any orders for it. So there's a couple ways to use this. There's one way is see what I can make Pantone 123 recycle it into. So I'm going to take the Pantone 123 and recycle it into. Most of the time, 99.9% of the time, you're not going to use this one because how do we check color? How do we select a color? Because a job comes up. So in this case, you would go, I need Pantone 123. What can I grab off my shelf and make into Pantone 123? So this is the one we most commonly use. So the only thing that you'll need is some kind of inventory of what you have on your shelf, so you wouldn't have to go track through everything on your shelf each time. So I recommend keeping an inventory of what's on your shelf. And then we click this this dot icon, and then we click the green button to go, and this is what you see. So there's a couple different options. If you can see here, I chose Pantone 123 again, which we'll be working on all day. There are 91 formulas that we can recycle into and make Pantone 123. I just selected this 1505 just because if you look down on the percentages, it uses 5.3% in the formula. So that's hardly any. So you're not going to get rid of that stuff on the shelf. What you really want to look at is something like this formula, so 107, and they're going to use almost 99%. So this is how we want to get rid of products. So we click this one, and we use this. We want to use this 99%. So we simply click this recycle icon, the green button, and it takes us to this screen. So what happens is it's now going to be under user formulas, and it's going to have RM on it, and this RM means recycled mix. So in the future, if we have excess of this product on the shelf, it will pull this up and saying that we can recycle this formula into something. So as you can see here, we took the 107, we took 1,000.2 grams of the 107, and we mixed in a little white, 7 grams, 7.48 grams of white, and we mixed in 6.81 grams of orange, and we basically made Pantone 123. And once you're done with this, you need to hit save, like on all of them. And once you save the formula, it will be under your user formula going forward. And that's it on the recycle. Let's talk about communication. So we're in a different tab. Everything we've done so far has been in the blending tab. Now we're going to go into the communication tab. So you can look under here under communications. There's a lot of options you can do on here. And actually, this is a very powerful software, and there's a lot of options. We're not going to go through everything today, but if you'd like to learn the other things, we can reach out to your Poly1 representatives or Marielle or myself, and we can walk you through the other stuff. But this is something. So I'm working with Ray Smith, and he's in the shop in Georgia, and I'm out here in California, and his Pantone 123 doesn't look right. So I'm going to click on this Pantone 123, double click on it. It's going to drop over in this menu, and I'm going to send him this formula. So I click on email. Now for this to work, you have to have your email system open. If it's not open, it's not gonna open it up. So once your email system is open and you click this icon, you can go one formula, boom. You can do multiple formulas. You can do a job. You can do 100 formulas, whatever you want to click in here. It's just a matter of selecting the ones and clicking. Then hit the green button. Once you hit the green button, it's going to take you to I happen to use Outlook, so I took my Outlook. I simply typed in Ray Smith. I went boom, sent, and I sent him the formula. And Ray is now got my formula, so now we're on the same page of exactly making the same formula. Okay, that's it with that. Blending formula. This is unique to Poly1. So the blending formula tab, if I click on it right now, nothing's going to happen because I have nothing hooked up to it. But if I did click on it and something was hooked up, this would happen. So we have our DM4, which is our automated dispensing system. As you can see here, we have 5 gallons of our components. In this case, it is our equalizer system. So here's all your 15 components. And then you have a Droma base back here. Each one of these dispense heads is an individual color or base. And if you look right here, the scale is the same scale here. There's a quart on there, so it looks like we're gonna make a quart. So this scale can also be a semi-automatic dispensing machine. So if you hook this scale up to your software or to your computer, once you hit that Pantone 123 and it had a quart, it'll take you to the dispense screen, and it says, for instance, I need 100 grams of white. Well, if you have to put 100 grams of white in there before it goes to the next component. If you don't have 100 grams of white in there, it won't go to the next component. So it's basically a semi-automatic dispensing machine. So then it'll take you to the next component, 5 grams of blue. I put 5 grams of blue, then it moves to 2 grams of red, and then boom, you're done. And then you print your label, you put it on there, you mix it up, and you're ready to go. This option over here is for our water base, and this system over here is made by Corab. This is in these sides there is pigments that are in the containers, much like this, and you use our software, and you can print the labels the same way. Everything's the same. It dispenses out of this area here. So that's for our water base. And so if you want more information on this, like I said, just reach out to your Poly1 representative. We'd be more than happy to discuss this with you. And as we're starting to roll down to the end here, I only got a few more things left, but calculation screen is a really good thing. Say you have a big job and you just kind of want to understand how much it's going to cost you or how much ink you need to mix. I go into the calculation screen. So you click on the calculation screen, you get a drop down menu. in the menu, it asks for this information. I'll click the next screen because I've already added it. So I said that we had 1,000 prints. The size of this image was 12 by 6, which is 72 square inches. I decided to print it through a 305, and it's going to be 100% coverage of that 12.6. Now, if you have a RIP software where you know what the positive, like a black area of a film positive, or the image, the information that you print down on the screen on direct to screen, you know exactly the square inches of that, which some of my customers were able to extract that information. You just type it straight in here, and now it's going to be much more accurate than this. So, anyway, so if you look at this, it's going to say to make it through a 305, I'm going to use basically less than 1 kg. It's going to cost me to make that batch $4.79. To make a kg, it's going to cost me $5.94, and to do that one stroke of that print is going to cost me about 1/2 cent. So that information is cool. But let's say we switched the mesh count. So all this other information is the same. Let's switch the mesh count to a 110. So we're going to let down a lot more ink. This batch now goes up to 3.6. Our batch cost has now increased to 21.5, and the kg cost is the same, but now our print cost, because we're laying down more ink, is now a little bit over 2 cents. So that's how you have it. There's a couple different ways to do it. I'm not going to get into that today, but like I said, if you want that other information, just reach out to your PolyOne representative, and we'll be more than happy to help you with that. And now we're kind of coming to the end. So how did we get this costing information? This is how we did it. So you go into a different screen. Now we're in the inventory screen, and there's a lot of information in this inventory screen, which we won't get into. And like I said, once again, PolyOne representative will be more than happy to walk you through that. Click on this costing tab. It's going to drop down this, and not only are the color components in there, but we also have extender bases, or additives. We got some foil resist. We have emboss agents. We have some soft hand additives, or if you wanted to make something, tint to silver, you can use the silver as a base. You wanted to add some some puff to it, you can add some puff to it. So all this is in there, and basically just ask your distributor for your pricing list, and then you can just put all your gallon pricing in here. And once that's in, you'll be able to capture this cost here is based on what was entered in that tab, or the information here is how we captured that information, is the costing information was from that tab. So more things here. Now one of the things is we want to switch programs. So say you use the Wilflex system, but you also use the Zodiac system, Aquarius, and you want to get a formula. Well, unfortunately, you cannot open them up at the same time. So you just simply go into the settings tab here. And then I was in the Wilflex one, but I want to switch to the Zodiac. So I click on this, it's going to highlight the thing, and you simply just click over here to apply change. And what it's telling you is that basically once you hit this, it's going to shut down this program, and it's going to reopen up in the Aquarius program. So as you can see here, you'd want to go back to your desktop. You click it open again, and boom, you're now, as you look on the right-hand corner again, you're in the Aquarius program. And if you wanted to switch, you drop down the menu again, and you can either do the Aquarius or the Libra, the silicone system. One of the things that I do, because I work in a lot of different softwares all the time, is that I'll go through those same steps. And now I have the Aquarius program open, and then I will go to my Programs tab. I'll look up Poly1, and then I'll hit the drop down, and it says IMS3. I'll click on that, and now that's going to open up in whatever program's there. But once I've done that, then I go back through these steps where I switch it to, say, Wilflex. I apply the change. I click here, and then I reopen up in this tab, and now I have both programs open at the same time. So that way you can just toggle back and forth on the bottom of your chain to get them going back and forth. And then the last thing I'm going to focus on today is, like I said, we're a global company, so there's a lot of countries that use this program that don't happen to speak English. So we have an option on here that you can switch languages. So if you go back in the settings screen, and then under here you see the language tab, you simply do the drop-down menu. And as you can see here, we have a lot of languages available depending on what country you're in. Just click on it, and now you have that all the program running in that language that you're most familiar with. And that's it today. I'm going to switch out of this and bring Mr. Smith back.
Here I am.
Hey, Ray.
Well, thank you, Tom. This is because I think this is a great training video. I think you covered about everything. I think someone wants to do a deep dive, they can, like you said, contact their tech rep or their sales rep, and they can happily walk it through. And we'll be happy even to get online with some and step it through on, even if it's like a FaceTime or something.
Absolutely,
like
that. Yeah. I mean, I think every option's available. I mean, obviously, most of our distributor reps are familiar with the program. If not, the sales reps, we can set up either a FaceTime or, when we get through this COVID thing, an in-office training session. So it shouldn't be a problem.
Well, that's perfect. Well, thank you, Tom, and have a great weekend.
Yeah, you too. Yeah, you too. All right. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. We appreciate it. Okay. All right.